Okay, we're finally in the Carlton Cinema on the corner of Green Lane at West Derby Road in Tuebrook. As you can see, the place has been closed for many years and it's due for demolition. In fact, the work's actually started as we speak. So we've been given a chance to have a little look around for the very last time. So time's limited. Come and join us, have a little look around, maybe share a few memories and I'll look around one last time. It's very dangerous underfoot. You can see why people haven't been given permission to come in here, but we were lucky to work that one out. Now this takes me back. Look at this. I mean, these doors. This is obviously where you come in, the main entrance. Now, back in the 70s, we're talking 40 years ago. Any given Saturday morning, this place would be teeming with kids, and that was all because of the ABC Miners Club. But we'll talk more about that later. So like I said, this is the main area, you can see. Didn't really need to use the doors because there's not much left of them. So, it's unbelievable the damage. It should never have been left to get into this state. But that's politics aside, we're here for the nostalgia, so let's have a little venture on. It's dangerous here, it's really dangerous underfoot and above, so we'll kit it out suitably. Don't try this at home. Right, here we go. This is all come back to me now. This is the main kiosk, what's left of it. Now, from my memories, and I'll probably keep saying back in the day, because that was my era, but in the mid-70s when we used to come here, this is where you come and get your tickets initially. It's obviously totally burnt out, there's absolutely nothing, it's just a shell now. Now, my memories of coming here with my parents was that you'd come here and queue up. Now, that was the difference back then, is that there was no internet, there was no telephone booking. You literally had to queue up to see a film. Now, the films usually changed every Sunday, and you'd have a window of about 7 days to catch whatever film it was. Unless it was a big movie, it'd be on for about 2 weeks. So this is where you get your tickets. Now, if it was a big film like a James Bond film or Star Wars or something, you might get a poster or a brochure. But generally, all you get here is your ticket and maybe a copy of Film Review magazine, which was very popular back then with all the news and gossip. So if we move on here to the rest of the kiosk. Now this is where you get your goodies. Remember it well. I don't remember it being fenced up. They probably have to be these days. Now, again, from my memories of back in the day, you used to buy your sweets here and your popcorn, but you could never buy things like Twixes or Mars bars. It was all industrial bites of sweets, you know, that the family could eat and chop away after the movie. And obviously you get your drinks here. Now, I don't think you can see this area here, but pretty much where this orange tray is here. My memory here is of seeing, it was like a sort of perspex goldfish tank, and it had orange liquid in with these plastic oranges getting swirled around. and it was to make it look like it was a very refreshing drink. But the reality of it is, it was actually Kiora orange juice, so anyone who's ever tasted Kiora will know it's far from refreshing. It tastes like a can of Tango, which has had the lid left off it for about a week. But that's what we had to take in, you know, it wasn't an era where you took your own food in to the cinema, unlike today. I don't know what's down there. I think that's another exit to the cinema itself. And I think there may actually be steps up there to the upper floor. Clearly it's very dangerous, whatever it is. And you can still see evidence here of the old wallpaper and fresco designs, which again we'll see more of later in the main screen. Okay, now we've just covered the foyer. Now this area here, again, this was House of Barrels. It seems to be a lot bigger than what I remember. But what I do remember about this area is that we used to get the frames advertising all the new films or upcoming films. So you might have a frame here. In fact, I think you can see one in existence. It's been here since the late 70s. You get your film posters displayed here, forthcoming attractions, and all the movie stills. Now, it actually reminds me of a funny story, funny to me anyway. Sunday afternoons was when the movies would change for the following week. And there's about 4 of us walking around Tuebrook, 50 pence in our pockets, bored out of our skulls. There was a film on display, or 2 films. It was a double bill of the Savage Bees and The Incredible Melting Man. But the titles alone tell you that they weren't kids' films. So we're standing at the door and the guy in the suit on the front just took one look at us. And it was like, there's no way you're getting in. It was a double A, which is the equivalent of a 15. But in this day and age, I've finally got the original film poster for that. And I've got the film on Blu-ray, so times change. Look at this. This here. After all the fire damage over the years, one thing survived, the ice cream. Okay, a little bit of history about the building as we're walking around. The theatre was designed by a gentleman by the name of Arthur Ernest Shannon and originally opened as the Carlton Theatre back in June 1932. At the time, it was one of the city's largest purpose-built cinemas. It had its own stage and also housed a Christie 3 manual theatre organ. This was played by a gentleman by the name of James Bell, who later went on to play at the Leicester Square Odeon in London. The cinema also had its own Chinese-themed and decorated cafe area. The ABC cinema chain, which was later owned by Canon, took over the cinema in June 1935. And for decades, it was a popular venue for moviegoers in the Tuebrook area and beyond. We also had the Emperor's Cinema and the Savoy Cinema, both of which were older screens and further along the West Derby Road area of Tuebrook. In the late 1950s, the cafe here closed and became the regional offices for ABC. And in 1962, the cinema itself was renamed simply as the ABC. A decade later, between January and March 1972, the cinema closed for renovation. The rear stalls under the circle were converted into a pub on the West Derby Road side of the building. This was known as the Painted Wagon, and it later became known as the Lord Derby, and finally closed its doors under the name Lord's. The cinema closed again briefly in 1980 and was reopened by an independent operator under the name Carlton Cinema. The final closure came when the building closed its doors on the 4th of December 1982, following a screening of Paul Schrader's movie, Cat People. So yeah, a bit of history about the place. Now, again, back to the foyer, we'll cover these quickly because we've got a lot to get around here. So you see evidence here on the floor of all the letters. Now, these used to hang up outside the cinema. Back then we didn't have digital displays. They were literally, it was a giant perspex sign outside. And every Sunday you see a gentleman on a ladder changing the name of the movie, what was going to show for the following week. Now, I did get a quick glimpse of this when we come in. This room is fascinating because this is where all the letters was actually still here. There's a lot of fire damage, but these stripes here, you can see this is where they were put on, no doubt in alphabetical order. But these are, looking at them now, these are the original letters from back in, well, these have probably been in circulation since probably the early 70s at least. Okay, that's a room none of us ever got to see back in the day. So moving on. Right, you can just pan the camera around there as well. I was mentioning before about the display units for posters. Well, that's obviously one which used to display some stills or the times of the movies. It's amazing it survived this long, or somebody can see them. And again on this side there's evidence again of another frame, which is obviously used to hold a British film poster size. Okay. Now, this room here, again, it's the last of the rooms down here which were out of bounds. This frame here, again, so it's a bit repetitive this, but it's another one of these frames that used to hold this film poster. This one was obviously designed to be displayed in the foyer. It's an internal one, and it looks like it's been backlit. Now, British cinema posters were 30 by 40 inch, which is still the regular size today. So as you come in, you've got your tickets, this is the sort of thing you see on display. There's evidence here as well, but it looks like somebody's been sleeping here. So we'll move on in case they come back and we'll have a kip.
Okay, well, Eddie's already described a lot of the exciting things that were in the foyer. I'm taking it now. But what we're going to do next is we're going to go into a darkened place. We're going to go upstairs. Let's see what we discover. As you can see, I've got my torch, so I'm going to try and illuminate everything we see as we walk. Four stairs full of looks like pigeon poo. So as you can see here, this would have been pushed. This is where some of the kids might have bumped into the cinema, me included, back in the day when we had no money to get in and wanted to watch one of our favourite films. But that was an exit door. And we're going upstairs. Now it's a bit ramshackle here, to say the least. The window, if you lost your bearings watching this movie, by the way, if I look at that window there, that will be West Derby Road, opposite the co-op's opposite here now. Let's go upstairs. As you can see, it's a bit dangerous. Oh. I'm going to have to turn this torch off here because we can see daylight. Now here we are. I'm going to turn left here. Oh, good job, I've got this. I found, watch the metal there. Now here's a room which fascinated me a couple of months ago when I sort of spent half an hour in here just initially discovering the place. I'm going to step on these. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to show you this room here. Which gives us a real insight. If we point the camera up, you get a real knowledge of where the building was at. I'm going to move in so I can get in with the camera. We punch it up there and look at that. Jeez. Gives you a real good indication of how dilapidated the building has become over the years. And what was once such a fine building housing a fair few things: a cinema, bowling alley, car park underneath, Coconut Grove nightclub, Annabelle's nightclub upstairs, which I used to frequent a lot. All sadly gone. Okay, let's turn left. And now we come to the door that you shouldn't step into. Ooh, Jesus. Oh, look here, it's a big drop. We're looking, of course, at what was once the cinema. Over there you can see the big gaping hole that's been made the last week or so by the demolition experts, the workings. So it's given us a bit of daylight, but it gives you a real sort of contrast in what was and what is now. That's sad in many ways. So let's move on. Double doors, what would this have been? I think this would have been like a walkway, just behind the actual cinema. I'm going to get my torch on, there's a bit graffiti on the walls. EFC, stink of, SH, that's not cold there, even on my red. Okay, any names here? Okay, loads here, Lee Mac, when was that? Who's that? Is that Natalie? Andrea J, Danielle K. They're about 48 now, old grandmothers with 18 grandkids. Natalie, Andrea, Danielle. So people have obviously come here, sit off. I mean, there's chairs here. One time I can imagine it would have been a groovy place for youngsters to come and chill. But I wouldn't recommend it now, kids. It's a bit dangerous, as you can see. Look at this. That's something out of a Hollywood blockbuster movie, that, isn't it? Earthquake.
If you pardon the pun.
Part 2. So as you can see, guys, very, very, one word I'm using a lot today, dilapidated. Room with a view. It's pretty quiet as well. All you can hear is the odd pigeon going, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'd like to come here by myself though. Okay, let's move on. We're going to the back of the cinema, back towards the Green Lane end if you like. As I say, I'll give you a regular update on where we are in the building in case you lose your bearings. Here's a room on the right. What could this be? Ooh, looks like where the main electrics were. Look at that. Imagine you were a powerful energy base to, want a better expression, to power such a building. Oh yeah, look at these. Beep, beep, pop off. Remember these? Back in the day, we used to have, not girls really, women, and they would walk around up and down the aisles selling ice cream in these old ice cream trays. I never had enough money to buy one of them, they're always expensive. But as Eddie said before, they're always trying to sneak me on soup in. Yeah, good stuff. Okay. Windows to the world there, all blacked up. Haven't seen the light of day for many, many years. Look at that. Let's move on. Yeah, that's nice, okay. Now we're going south now. See what's in these rooms today. Hello? Is anybody in? Ooh, look at these. Old school paper cups. I've seen that for years. Black and white bloom, I say. What else? Oh yeah. Now this must have been an office because guess what I've seen? A safe. Let me talk about it. No way you're going to build that one today. That must have supposed to be, as I say, an office where you get all the trash. On some corrugated iron. Noise. Yeah, that was it then. I found a magazine. What's that? People. That was another type of magazine, and I might keep that there for now. Another room. Oh, look at this. This is a proper old school fridge, this, isn't it? Wall type screen. Yeah, I still have a screen there. Something like this would have been the foyer, I guess. But stuff. Get some money for scrap on that. Here we go again. More stuff, more film reviews, more screen trays. I like the wallpaper, by the way. Old school 70s wallpaper. That was, we used to have that now. There was a big gaping hole there. That must be the window. See the old light fittings still there? all these walls are hollow. So obviously these have been temporary structures sort of thing. But the thing about that on the walls. Ooh, I'm not going in there, it's full of bricks and pigeon poo and things, dangerous things, leaning up the ceiling. It could have on my head and I could be dead. I'm really sorry. Right, what's in here? This is crazy. It's like a maze of corridors and rooms. I don't realise. Well, we come up that passageway, we're coming down the stairs, as you can see. Coming back towards the front of the building. Well, let's have a little look in this room first. Take a torch on. I love torches. What is this? What everyone needs a visit to the cinema sometimes. Toilet. And obviously, it's even better toilets to be fair. What is it? Flushed with success. Obviously these are the men's toilets. Okay, we're going down a narrow staircase just off that main passageway we've just been in. And this is really, really dangerous and steep. It's all kinds of stuff, let's call it stuff on the stairs. And hey, oh, look what we just found. At the bottom, there's almost like, let's call it a well. It's about 3 or 4 foot deep, the water. Oh, look at that. There's a bin in there, rubbish bin. The electrics. Emergency resuscitation. Look at that. It's clear water as well. I'm sure I'll drop me torch. Obviously a buildup of rainwater. Oh, wonder if the brook's anything to do with that as well. Maybe some of the water from there has gone to there. Maybe you're total nonsense, but fascinating to see that. Oh, right around there somewhere. Obviously, I haven't got any weapons on today, so there's no one going down there today. Wow and wow. Guess where we are, folks? In the old Painted Wagon. Painted Wagon Saloon. Opened in 1972. A landmark in Tuebrook history. Later became the Lord Derby, and then eventually it became the Lords. And it was a stopping off point for people from all next to the woods, all over Liverpool, who were going to the Coconut Grove at Annabelle at the weekend especially. And so the stop off here, the pub, and it was always busy. And as I say, when it first opened in 1972, it had a cowboy and Indian sort of theme going on. The toilets were called squaws or braves. I remember the first time I ever went to a pub, and guess which pub it was? It was this one. A mate of mine from school knocked me one time. I was 17, looked about 12. He said, "Eddie, do you want to come to the pub?" I said, "No, I want to play footy." But anyway, he convinced me to go. And I always remember sitting, because this is where the balcony was here. Started like a nice little slope here. The bar was over there. My dad used to stand in the corner, stand cotton all at weekends anyway. All the seating down here. And in later years, when it became the Lords, we had one of the DJs, I think his name was Chris. He used to play your card twice every Sunday night, which was very popular as well. So it was a really, really, really groovy place to go. Was the Lords, or the Painted Wagon, or the Lords Derby, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I remember sitting here many times. But let's take a little tour of the pub while we're here. See, that was where the bar was, drunk. And old friends of ours, Rose and Ivy. Rose passed away early this year, by the way. Rose Armstrong, she was lovely. She worked here for years, as did Ivy. And her husband Jerry, they had the pub for a while. You're looking around, graffiti on the walls, but that's where all the seating was. It was a slightly raised seating here. It was such a big pub, actually. So, if I'm walking now, I'm walking towards the toilets. The bar's there. Hi! Lots of people from the past. The ghosts of the past. Good times. Anyway, let's not get emotional. Remember this. Let's check. I remember these. These are the girls all doing the makeup. Here, thinking they were gorgeous. I did as well. Let's have a little look down here. What's down here? Toilets here. A bit cleaner than upstairs. I've seen enough toilets for today. Surprisingly not much dust on it. So yeah, this is the far end of the pub. Here's the entrance over there where we walked in just a moment ago. So this is the Lord's. And that's the cinema. All heaped into one big mess. Sadly, the end of an era.
Okay, well we're back in the main cinema now. We're just coming out of where the Lord's pub was. Now, as you can see, a lot of demolition work's been done in the last couple of weeks, and the cinema now, it is just a shell, it's a former shell of itself. But what is still visible on the walls here is the original fresco designs. They're like, it looks like a jumping stag there, some guy or a woman playing like a flute or something. All things which are etched in our memories as kids, but never really took any notice or interest back then. But now that the demolition's imminent, you know, they stand out a lot more. Pretty much all that's left of the original look of the cinema. As you can see on the roof, there's a lot of extensive damage as well, which is again why we're in hard hats. Very dangerous site, probably the most dangerous site I think we've filmed on. Now anyone who knows me personally knows I'm a big fan of the movie Jaws. Now I don't actually remember seeing Jaws here. It did actually shown in the probably early 1976 after its initial run. But in the wake of Jaws, Hollywood made a lot of movies which basically pitted mankind against beast. So we were getting films like Grizzly, The Food of the Gods, Empire of the Ants, Kingdom of the Spiders, all these exploitation movies made in America to make money off the back of Jaws. They were all shown here, usually as double bills. I mean, I remember outside seeing a poster for Rollerball, Death Race 2000. All these movies, you know, they capture the imagination when you were kids, and you just had to come in and see them. But where we're looking now, this is where the screen is, this is where we saw them all as kids. Alas, no more. So this is the last chance we've got now to take in and revisit them memories before it all comes tumbling down. Okay, like I said, there's not much left of the actual structure of the cinema. This appears to be what looks like one of the exits. So you'd see your movie, eating your popcorn, drink your Kia-Ora, or as much as you can stomach. And this looked like, well, it's clearly an exit to the car park at the back of the cinema. Looking out there, you can see the back of Coconut Grove, and to see this club beyond, going up towards up Green Lane. You can see the doors here. They'd usually be kicked out by the time you're the first one down here. But yeah, this was one of the exits. Now, got to be very careful underfoot here. There's a little bit of tragedy attached to the building, unfortunately. In recent years, a gentleman fell through the roof trying to get lead, and I've been given our good authority. I know a gentleman died in here. He found a needle in his arm. One of our local down and outs, pretty much where we're standing here. Poor fellow was found. Obviously, nowhere to go. Tragic way to go, unfortunately. So there is a bit of tragedy attached to this place, but you know, it's still the place of dreams for many. The silver screen. And a lot of people got happiness from just visiting there. Got to be see your favourite film, or just, you know, having Saturday morning on the ABC Miners Club. Okay, well, moving on. We're now heading up to an area to the left side of the main screen if we were looking towards any facing audience. And it was an area that was certainly out of bounds to the general public back when the cinema was open. I've been given a lot of information about this chamber area from a gentleman by the name of Keith George Rose. He's a cinema expert extraordinaire. And what Keith doesn't know about cinemas isn't worth knowing. But putting into simplistic terms, this chamber area provided the air conditioning for the cinema, which had treated air being fed out higher in the auditorium above any cinema goers to avoid any drafts, while all the stale air was dispersed through the vents. What we're looking at here now is clearly an integral part of that system. Certainly something you wouldn't want to be standing by if it was in use. So, like I said, the conditioned and treated air was fed out very high above the cinema goers, and any stale air created by smoke and stuff was filtered out through the vents throughout the cinema. Now, looking around, what's very striking about this part is the fact that it's still very much intact compared to a lot of what we've seen around the rest of the cinema today. But obviously this was out of bounds to the public, you know, and over the years, any subsequent vandalism. And these bricks, this brickwork's very clinical, very hospital-like, very sterile. It's fascinating. Now, I've no idea what that is. Again, it's probably another integral part of the chamber, like some sort of drive or motor, from what we've just seen around the corner. And again, it doesn't look like something you'd want to be standing next to when it was working. But it's sad really, because although it's not been in use for years, it's clearly it's going to end up as scrap metal in the next few weeks. What have we got? Creepy little inlet at the side there. Typical of our Tuebrook explorations over the last couple of years. But here we are now at an end. And like I said, what's quite striking is the condition this area is in here. And then what have we got? Another little room. It's a bit too small for storage. Okay, we've got a ladder going up to the heavens there. I don't think we'll be going up that today. Or ever again. I have no idea what what this could have been used for. Maybe somebody watching will know. Okay, well, we'll head back down towards the main screen. But to give you an idea of where we are in the cinema, beyond this wall, foot of this stairwell here, would be looking out over the car park at the back of the cinema itself. Obviously all this was out of bounds, and you know, just beyond this brickwork damaged area here is the back of the screen. Okay, we've got another little mystery room here. It's got a ladder heading down to it. No idea what that would have been used for. Maybe it was to put people who wouldn't pay for a ticket or bunked in. I am joking, of course. Anyway, we'll head up to the main screen, catch up and see what Eddie 2's been up to. Okay, Ed, well, we've done our little tour of the Carlton, and I'm presuming this is probably the last episode, which was going to be the first, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, many years.
Never got in.
We never got in, did we? But we managed it today.
Yeah.
It's been brought back so many memories for me today, walking in here. Albeit I came here a couple of months ago for a quick flying reconnaissance trip. But coming here today has evoked so much emotion in me, really. Because as I said to you before, it's like the Painted Wagon pub and all its other names it had. The cinema, the bowling alley, the car park underneath, Annabelle's, the Cokie. It's all one big mess, isn't it?
It is now, yeah.
Sad.
It's one of them memories I wanted to just ask you about, because as much as I've been ranting on about coming here in the 70s, there's one element of it I never got involved in, and that was the ABC Miners Club. I knew it was a Saturday morning, but I think maybe once or twice, but I've got no recollection. I mean, did you used to come? Can you tell us about
I did.
that?
And I mean, I was brought up in Everton, so in 1968 we moved up to Tuebrook, which we thought was posh. But anyway, back in Everton, we used to go to the Hippodrome Cinema. We should have a similar thing every Saturday morning, but we didn't have the ABC Miners song in the Hippodrome. It was we just didn't for whatever reason. So I came here Saturday morning. I think it was about £1 to get in. Could be wrong there. And then have fun. The place was always heaving packed. And they'd have a thing every weekend, every Saturday morning, where they'd have someone's birthday. So it was your birthday. If you told them, they got you up on stage and you expected to do a little dance and stuff like that.
Worse.
Oh, myself. So, I mean, some people had 6 birthdays a year, because you used to get freebies as well.
Free Kiora?
Yeah. But we had about 3 films. We'd have the main film, we'd have a cowboy film, you know, the baddies always got bees. And it was just mayhem. And of course, that song, how could we forget? I'm not even going to sing it, I'll try. We are the boys and girls well known as miners of the ABC. ABC.
You've got
boys
the job.
Got the gig, yeah.
Well,
it was great.
Well, Jimmy, one of our mutual friends, he couldn't be here today, but he told me he had on good authority that he was here in the mid-70s when we had a celebrity come to introduce one of his films, and that celebrity was Keith Chegwin.
What?
He said I did a bit of research on that, and the only thing I could find about from that era, it must have been 1975, and he made a Children's Film Foundation movie called Robin Hood Jr.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that was the era, and that was the only film he come to promote here. And Jimmy said he was in like a white suit, he was on the stage, and he arrived and was taken away by a limo. So such is the trappings of fame.
Sounds a bit like that Tony Blackburn gig in the L2 one time, remember?
Yeah,
he did that great talent. Yeah, but no, Keith Chegwin, I mean, things like that would have excited those kids as when we were youngsters, obviously, because we didn't have much going on in our lives. Not like today, we didn't have iPads, Facebook, social media. So to us, everything was an adventure. We'd go out for days out, which, if we didn't have the money, I'd try and bunk in. I shouldn't say this, of course, but little ways of getting into the cinema without paying and stuff like that, you know.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because this cinema closed on, I think I mentioned earlier, the 4th of December 1982. Now, since then, or before then, we didn't have internet, DVDs, mobile phones, Blu-ray. Now, by fair means or foul, the film comes out on the cinema, and you can have it in your home within hours or days.
I know.
But back then, you had 7 days to see a film, and if you missed it, that was it. Unless it was a big film, it would retain for 2 weeks.
I know. I remember quick memory, you know, your mum and dad didn't last your house. Get out! And you'd be out all day, you come home black. But you'd have adventures along the way, and you didn't need money then, did you?
No.
You'd usually find money on the floor. You know, you find a shilling, you know, and mug your mates for some sweets, and you survived. And there were good days. I don't want to start sounding like Mr. Old and Misery, but no, they were different in those days. And memories like coming to cinema, as I say, not just Saturday morning, because I remember coming here one time to see Carrie, and it was, remember Carrie, 1979 to come out?
John Travolta.
The place was packed one Saturday. We'd been to the pub, the Painter Wagon, me and my mates Eddie Burgess and Billy Ignis, went to see Carrie, packed cinema at the end. Guess who jumped and screamed like a girl at the very end when the hand shot up from the thing? Me.
I've spoiled it for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Oh, yeah, spoiler alert, yeah. And then we'd go to Lord Derby afterwards. So we could have a whole big night out in Tuebrook.
Yeah, and as you know, it's, for me in particular, films have changed my life.
Yeah.
You know, especially with Jaws. And it was an era of, captive imagination. You could go and see a film and you'd be inspired to go on and draw and make stuff. I mean, this day and age, you've got the technology to do like what we're doing today. Back then, you had them 7 days to see a film, and that was it.
That's it.
You could go home and talk about it and maybe get the money to come and see it again.
I know. And such a pity you didn't see your favourite ever film, Ed.
I don't recall it.
Yeah.
For me, it was ABC Lime Street.
Yeah.
That was on Boxing Day 75. That was the day it opened. But we have got evidence that it was shown here. It's definitely in the late 70s. Because it was a small suburban screen, we'd have got the films later after they had a run in the city centre.
Yeah.
But again, it's just nice to be back here one last time, Ed. And it is, unfortunately, the very last time.
I know, memories like the corners of my mind.
I'm glad we got here. We accomplished it in the end.
Well done, Ed. Well
so
done.
should we
thanks for the memories.
Thank you, Ed. Should we have a little wander?
Yeah.
Cheers. Come on.